Tell me why is after the line trying to make me up confused about the USA. When the back of my mind, this is just on here to comprehend and understand. I feel what I say. Mother, whatever, go get tired. Whatever, go get tired. Well, every day I'm saying a story. No fact to glory. I can sing, and I still don't like it. And I know I don't want it. I can try again. Almighty watching. I can try again. And I still don't like it. And I know I don't want it. I can try again.
Okay, can you hear us?
Mic is muted.
Is it?
It says mic is
No,
muted.
not that one.
On that one, it says mic.
Well, yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
because you
What's up, guys?
5x5. So you guys say something. 5x5. 5x5.
5x5.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Right? Beautiful.
Alrighty. So let's start at the beginning. Let's see. Is Cherokee Survival in here? He didn't make it? Okay.
Cherokee.
So, shit. How do we word this? I'm kind of at a crunch.
Introduction? Yeah, who we are.
Oh, that's a great way to start.
Yeah,
This period of instruction. Holy fuck. That's
Oh
almost
my
like I did that a
God,
couple
I did
times.
something in my life.
Fuck me,
I'm
right?
useful.
So anyway, that's Cash. If you were from this area, he's kind of a semi-legendary. He's an analog guy from before the interweb stays under the radar type.
Right.
Built crews, lost crews, found new guys. He has dudes that have aged out of this shit and aren't doing it anymore. You know, I asked him to be here because, like, if you're around these parts and he's not there, then you're not really fucking doing it. You know what I mean? Stump. A lot of you guys know Stump now, so some of you anyway. He's actually shown his face. Some people have met him, and you know, he's been there, done that. And well, I mean, like, shit, kind of speaks for himself. Military background. In the Florida community, a lot of the guys that are training and doing all that kind of stuff, he's always around. He goes everywhere. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. He pops up everywhere. And then kinetic peacemaker, scout background, sniper training type shit. He's the newest ad that we have, and we met him through Risky Krisky, actually. And what I don't know, it's been a little while now, but
About 4 months, 5 months, something like that.
yeah, we've been getting out there and doing it. So that's how we all met each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got years between some, and then this is starting at the beginning and building a mag, but you got to realize that in this area, there's tons of people. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that have various levels of being in or out of this kind of shit, right? And that makes it easier in one respect, but it makes it harder also because it all goes off of the standards that you're aiming for. And I was thinking to make something, and it's kind of screwed up because it seems almost like I'm not talking to you guys, because if you're in here, you're already doing this. But if somebody, the guy that changes oil at the Walmart Supercenter in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is watching the news and he says, "Man, I'll tell you what, I think this isn't looking good. I want to do something," but he doesn't know what to do. Like, absolute bare bolts beginning. How do you do this? You know, how do you get about this? The other thing, what is a prepper? We were talking about that too. Like, as we were talking about this, we couldn't even agree on what a prepper was, you know, and we also couldn't agree on what a female was, you know. And then we got on the Supreme Court, which was weird. Okay, that part's a joke, but but
Yeah, exactly.
let's see, where am I going from there?
Well, that's our background, I guess. You know, everybody's got a little bit of various different stuff. Marcus, you, everybody knows Bug. If you don't know Bug, he's done about everything. Don't believe him. He says
Can you guys hear him, by the way?
maybe. But if you don't know about Bug,
Oh, Cherokee Survival's here.
he's done about everything.
I got one more party trick for Cherokee Survival. I got to do this.
Oh,
I made a song just for Cherokee Survival.
Here we go.
Let me see what's it in. I don't know how to do this shit, guys. So he's talking about I'm the analog guy.
Exactly.
Here we go. Here we go.
Laptops are coming nice.
Goes out to Cherokee Survival, guys.
The song is picking up.
If you're being, no, don't worry about it. I made a song that says Cherokee Survival, all caps, all the time. And I just think dumb shit like that. There we go.
There you go. He commented on it. He appreciated it.
I had to do that. He's an unsung hero, man. Like, he's in all these chats. He runs at a fucking million miles a minute. He's like nonstop, straight fucking, just energy. And I don't know, man. That was I did something for him because, like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. He's a fucking fireball, man. So I wanted to make sure that I made something for him when he got in here, so that if he wasn't bouncing off the walls already, he's doing it a little more now, you know. Okay, sorry. Where were we at?
We're definitions. Yeah, you. We're talking about you and definitions. So, what is a prepper?
Well, before we even get there, we'll start on this. Personally, fitness and knowledge. These are two things that will define your approach to your situation. Also, property, which goes in line with location, but we'll talk about that later. Education, tools, supplies, aptitudes. If you're really good at baking cookies and you're really terrible at shooting, it doesn't mean that you should stop trying this stuff. It just means you need to find a shooter. And if you're really good at shooting and you don't know how to bake anything, you need to find someone that can do that. The problem is people isolate and they get in cliques. You know, like there's the hippie, dirty feet, earth growing people, and then there's the shooters. Well, those shooters need to be linking with these other people. Like, it's going to take all of us to do this. The rule of threes we were talking about, which we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but threes. It starts with 3 hours. That's like your EDC, right? Your car, you know, a couple bottles of water, if you go to Disney World, you're going on 3 hours. You're like, well, I'll have a cooler with a couple bottles of water, a couple snacks for the kids. So if we get stuck in a line and the kids are getting anxious, I stick a cupcake in their mouth and they shut up for a minute, That's 3 hours. You begin prepping when you hit the 3-day mark. And that's where you start hearing bug out bags and all this other stuff. I'm not a poo-poo guy on bug out bags and that concept, but the whole thing is if that's all you got, you're late to the party. Well, not only are you late to the party, but it's like, do you want to starve to death on top of the Adirondacks, or do you want to starve to death on the beach? You have 3 days to get to where you're going to die. That sounds negative. That sounds like grand fun, but you know what I'm saying.
You're going to die.
You are going to die.
Yeah, you're packing up to die.
Yeah. 3 weeks. Now we're talking. There's your beyond hurricane status, loss of power. That something semi-major. It's 3 weeks. You might be all right. And if that's all you really are worried about, 3 weeks would be a good place to go. That's where all your freeze-dried buckets and stuff come in. You got a closet with a couple of things thrown in there. You're good. Got a Sawyer mini and a couple Life straws, which not a big fan of Life straws, but whatever. What Life straws are really good at is marketing. They're great at that, but as far as keeping you alive, it's whatever.
It's up for debate.
Yeah, right. 3 months after that, and at 3 months, I would say you're probably a prepper at that point, right? You're not just somebody that is keeping an eye on things, but after 3 months is the leap to 3 years, and in which case you're a homesteader. So this is where the Red Dot crowd kind of takes a turn with me, because everything that you do as a tactical guy, you're assuming that you have the homestead supporting you, but you're not looking for the homestead. You're not trying to get there. And that's like something that, as a community, we need to iron this shit out. We need these people to find each other, or it isn't going to happen. You know what I mean? We have the same problem that everybody else has. So we're not immune to this, right? We're just acknowledging this, right? So the person starting, guess what? You're not that much worse off than a lot of us, but you have a lot less shit than a lot of other people. And everything's getting more expensive. Like Milkmaid said, today's prices are tomorrow's sale prices. Well, the prices from 5 years ago was beyond clearance, And anybody who disagrees with me, try to buy an AK today.
Agreed. Or AK ammo.
Yeah, right. Okay, so after that, yeah, it's bad.
Seriously, 762.
So like, you're looking at anywhere between, for decent brass, $800 cost. If you're looking for steel, about the same stuff. Because they stopped importing stuff.
Why? Well, I know why. Wait, there's that thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And they passed the grandfather law where that clause was counted more.
But you know who that doesn't apply to is Gray Shop, by the way. Apparently they have James Bond working for them, and they will get a truck past that
They are
customs man.
Estonian.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly. It says it on their website.
Okay, so all right. Here's the things that I'll try to talk louder.
Okay.
All right, so things that aren't in your control that you have or don't have. Your upbringing. Some people grew up as like hunters. Some people grew up with a family that did a lot of gardening. People played sports. Guess what? You learn positions, you learn formations, you learn all this stuff. You're already not, besides just being physical in general, but you're learning how to operate as a team. But guess what else that applies to? Peacemaker pointed this out to me. If you were in the band, you also were learning formations and how to move it as a team and how to coordinate and how to use different equipment and how to do a combined arms exercise acoustically instead of kinetically. So they also have a piece in this. Hikers, people that grew up with animals. They raised animals, they cared for them, blah, blah, blah. That's experience. There are people that have no idea how to do that shit, especially training animals, like some people it's absolutely foreign to them. Now, your profession. What do? If you're a middle manager at you know, some fucking office bullshit, like, well, you might be in a little bit of trouble there. Like, you're going to have to go externally to find things to make you more marketable, because it's not like we're going to have to put covers on TPS reports in the middle of the apocalypse, you know? But there are the undying trades. And like, how many people know a prepper that's also a plumber? Come on, like, that exists, right? You know, well, maybe there's one, I guess. I don't know. Okay, there's one, but after that, there's no more. They don't have to, because they know someone's going to take care of them. They know that they're going to be valuable enough that they got some leverage, you know. And I was taking a crack at prepping plumber. That's a guy. But no, they know that they're going to be valuable. Your machinists, like Uman, you know, Uman can make a freaking car. You can bring him recycled steel and he will turn it into a Winnebago. Like, you're probably going to want that guy on your team, right?
Yep.
The people that are doing the trades, like you want them. And now, if you're already doing the trades, the things you have to do to become marketable are less competitive than somebody that doesn't have those skills, you know? So, like, your level of intensity has to kind of vary there, you know? But it would be nice if everybody had everything, which is a concept that I call a walk-on, right? The walk-on has everything. It doesn't cost the host group anything. Like, you've got your little camper, your RV, your solar stuff. You've got your guns, your ammo. You brought all that other shit. You got seeds. You know how to do things with those seeds. You got everything but a water source that you're bringing with you. You know, that person is pretty much going to be able to find a group anywhere. That's who we want to be ultimately. But what does that take? You know, that's.
I think that also leads into the question of morality. Like, where does your moral compass point? And somebody brought up a good question. Anyone can be an asset, but anyone can also be the enemy. So, along with, as well as having skill sets, you also just want to be a good fucking person.
Yep.
And be looking for good people. You know, how do you do that? You, like I said, your moral compass, and you really have to vet these people that you're looking at to have to depend on.
You have to have some discernment with them.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out where their intentions lie.
Yeah, and down here we actually skipped a bit,
Yeah.
which is good. That's fine. One of the things we have written down is not only business. You know, you bond and you bullshit, but you can vet as you train. But there's also a degree of learning about somebody where you, in a leisure setting, you can actually sometimes more accurately vet that person. Let him get a couple beers in him. Let him fucking, like, let it all out, right? You will learn more about that person in a social setting sometimes than a professional setting. A lot of people are used to getting vetted, you know? They're used to being questioned. But when they're sitting at the pool hall and the smoke's been in their eyes for like 30 minutes and they knocked a couple back, well, they're going to loosen up a little bit. And I'm not saying everybody should be testing everybody, but at the same time, it's like, those kind of people sometimes, if you're a good judge of character, they'll show themselves eventually. You know, you can't pull it off forever. You know, finding a mag, the walk-on prepper thing I talked about, what you were talking about, where to find somebody. We had a couple of ideas. One being, and I'm not a super religious type, but I do agree with this. Churches are a great place to find like-minded people, because it's a meeting location and people get to know each other. They see each other all the time, year after year, you know, and there's these people become not strangers to you, and it's easy to bring the conversation up to these people, you know.
Another really good place is disaster relief organizations. You really get to see how people work when they're under pressure, and that's another way to see who they really are.
Which, by the way, I think Survival Living's in here.
Yeah. So I mean, even people like us, we volunteer for disaster relief. That's a real good place to meet people of all walks of life. So don't ever discount that either.
But that's where Survival Living met Stump, was doing that. After the hurricane, that's the last one. When Survival Living came down here, VFW for veterans. That's like,
Agreed.
if you want to find a 30-06 sugar daddy, that's the place to go.
You want to see the Vietnam vet or the guy that was in Panama that's been stacking it up for 30 years. It probably has 100,000 rounds. That's probably where you're gonna find that guy. He's sitting there paying for $2 beers in VFW
Yeah.
all day long.
Love those $2 beers.
Exactly. Just doing the whole veterans affair, sitting back on retirement, and all he does every single day is probably wake up, go to the shooting range, crack a couple shots, and head to the VFW.
With his 1911.
Exactly.
Love
Hey man, 2 World War. That's it, man.
Feed stores.
Yeah. Farmers.
And then kind of a vague term here, but Bass Pro. If you're always combing for like ammo and stuff like that, going to those kind of, recreational stores, REI and all that kind of stuff. If you see somebody there more than once and they kind of look like they know what's up,
Yep.
you start talking about things on the shelves and ask them for advice, even if you know what you're talking about, especially if you know what you're talking about, probably.
Yep.
And let them talk for a minute, and then you can go, you know what? Like, maybe this is a candidate, anything related to guns is an easy one. Gun ranges,
Gun show.
gun shows,
Gun stores.
and in fact, I will throw out how all three of us met Cash is at a gun show.
Yeah.
You tell it.
I run a small surplus business that is attached to the gun show, and I got to meet a ton of people, especially in my local area, and it's been invaluable for networking. And because I'm a trusted face, I'm there all the time. Those bonds and relationships just continue to get stronger. So,
And he kind of ended up being a talk commander for guys in the area.
Yep.
So when other guys would go to him and say, "Hey man, I'm looking for people that are kind of hip to this or this or this," and he's like, "Oh man, I know a guy. What's your number? Blah blah blah." And then he'll go to the other person and say, "Hey man, I know this guy that I met, and he's like blah blah blah," and then the shit happens from there.
let me interject with something and say that when you do invite people into your little group, one subject that's been great is training medical anything. You can bond with people. It's not scary for people. If you can get started with some type of medical training and invite everybody and their friends, it's it's very non-threatening, and everybody likes to have knowledge of medical, so they're always interested in that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not going to get arrested by the FBI for teaching somebody how to treat tension pneumothorax or do wound packing.
Yep. Agreed.
But the radar, Marauders and frauds, that's the risk here. I noticed Marauders, the Marauder types, they like to advertise that because they don't realize that it's hazardous behavior, right? You give them a couple chances, they'll let you know eventually.
Do your viewers know what a Marauder type is?
They do, but let's pretend they don't. Let's pretend it's the first.
Let's explain that terminology.
Go ahead.
So a Marauder type is a person that will draw near to you on the basis of guns and fellowship somehow, but their intention is not to prep. Their intention is to, well, I have my guns, so I'll take what I need from the next person.
Yes.
If you guys have a better description of that, I'm open to
So that
it.
works.
But we've all known somebody that drops that type of verbiage and says, "Why do I need to prep?
Exactly. I'll just go ahead and
I've got guns. I can just take what I need."
There's a guy who goes to when shit hits the fan, man. I'll just take over Bass Pro and I'll have everything I need. But they don't realize that when shit hits the fan, that law enforcement might actually still be there. Or they're going to run into a group that has capabilities that are preppers and they're not Marauders, and they're going to get their asses.
And the other thing, that's the instant, the instant red alert. But the other red alert is and this is kind of under the category of fraud, but it sort of isn't. But I'll just go to your house. That person,
The leech.
if you're on either side of that coin, you're a douchebag, right? You know, to expect somebody, like, if you have a man card at all and you expect someone else to take care of you, like, just leave it, just throw it in the campfire the next time you go out somewhere, because, like, that's, you can't have respect and be a dependent at the same time. Like, if you're going to be the sheepdog, you know, 3%er or whatever, throw in a word here, right? And you expect those people to feed you, you're not taking care of them. You're killing them. You're a resource leak, you know? And whatever security services that you're offering for them, right now, what we're telling you is to get those capabilities yourself and don't need that person. Because that person, you don't need that fucking person, because it never stops. They're always going to need something. They're always going to have an excuse. They're always going to be a boat anchor, and they're going to drag the operation, you know?
Those guys didn't go out and prepare anything. They didn't buy the first thing, although they've known you for 5 or 10 years, and you've been telling them to.
They'll talk about it.
Exactly. They might talk about it. They're the same guy that talks about, oh, the storm's coming, the hurricanes on the horizon. You're going to get food and water. But yet they don't get any food and water. Storm hits, their house floods, and they come to your house. And they're like, hey, I need food and water. And you feel obligated to give it to them because you want to be the good person. But yet they've had 3 weeks, 4 weeks for that storm to come to prepare. And, you know, now they're taking food out of your family's mouth because they decided, I'm going to be responsible for my family, not do my duty as a person to my family.
I think another good way to be able to tell if somebody's worthwhile is if you can trade with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know all of us have traded something of some sort of value, whatever. If they have something to give and you have something to give and you guys are able to share that equally, that's a big telltale sign there. If they're not able to do
That's a
that,
good point.
then they're pretty much don't have shit.
Or they don't want to give you.
Or they don't want to give you what they have. And if they don't want to give you what they have, or at least share, you know, back and forth, then who are they and what are they good for you?
Kind of going off of that point, the traits that they have now and the personality that they have now, when they go under stress, will just intensify.
Yeah,
So if they're somewhat of a crappy person now, and you kind of feel like when they get in this situation,
when the fight or flight kicks in.
exactly,
Yeah.
they become, that's going to intensify. Like, you might have a really, you brought this up earlier, but you have a really good, solid guy. You train with him, he's solid. But every night, 7 o'clock, he's a little bit wasted. And every single time you go out, he's getting kicked out of bars and all that other stuff. And that's happening now when society is normal, quote unquote. But what do you think it's going to be when that stress hits in, that emotion hits in, and he's going to be looking for that bottle a little bit harder, without having to know how to self-regulate? You know, that's a big thing in self-regulation. You're trying to be an asset, not a liability to you, your family, and the people around
Right. And the exchange, unfortunately, that has to take place here is you will have to sacrifice your lack of awareness for security. You know, if you have a large enough group that's locked on enough, that's polished enough, how many of us have that? You know, probably nobody, almost nobody, right? Although the weird OPSEC internet guy I'm going to talk about in a second, he has it. He's got 500 people, and they're all fucking surgeons and paramedics, and they're all fucking tier 1 operators. We all know that guy, right? We'll talk about him later. But how many people would it take to have a day off to just fucking knock back a few beers and not give a shit? It takes a lot of people to afford a day of nothing. Do I want to sit back and drink beer? I want to drink a beer right fucking now. And in fact, I'm going to. But
And in fact, I am.
yeah,
Exactly.
Right now.
but what I'm saying is, yeah, fuck me, right? But like, yeah, like you can't just get tanked every night because people are relying on you, and that's the thing. Like, if you're a part of a group, that means that there's a group relying on you. So you have to reflect this. The respect given to you, you have to earn, and you have to reflect it back. You know. So the OPSEC internet guy, the guy who has 500 people, and they're all tier 1 operators, and they're all fucking flight medic qualified. But when they find out that, and you're like, oh, you live in South Carolina? I live in South Carolina. Let's shoot together. No, dude, OPSEC. I can't tell you where I'm at. That guy's full of shit. Okay, don't make plans with him or her or whatever. And YouTube is plagued with the OPSEC internet commandos, and I'm just saying they're all full of shit.
Yep.
If you're like, we are in the Fort Myers, Florida area, and if you can drop a bomb on me right now, you are beyond, like,
You need to work for the CIA.
yes, exactly.
You're going to get contracted, get an NDA next week. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, like you are getting underpaid if you can do that, and you're sitting here watching me instead of like taking out Osama bin Laden. Oh wait, didn't we already get him, or did we? Yeah, I don't.
Just like we got Hitler, right? I don't know.
Pretty sure he's in. I think he's on Marco Island with Nancy Pelosi these days, probably. But whatever. Yeah. So that's a lot of it. So be marketable.
Yeah.
We kind of got bored of writing this shit down, so we don't have too much left. We'll just be bullshitting from here on out. But skills,
It's honestly.
equipment, preps, those things we can make a difference now before the day of, or the moment of struggle. These are all things that you can impact and change and mold yourself into be.
Yep.
If you're a person, going back to location, if you're in the middle of a city and you don't know anybody, and you're like, man, I don't know anybody, I don't have anyone to make a mag with. Okay, well, you don't know anybody. That means you can join a mag anywhere. You can be in New York City and join a mag in
New Hampshire.
Exactly.
You're not that far away, man.
And then guess what? Now what do you need? Get a storage space, throw a pop-up camper in there, get the hell out of the city, hook that thing up, and take your ass out. The other thing is front-loading preps. If you do have a bug out, you do meet people, and you're like, wow, but I only have a car and I only have this. Have your shit there already.
Yep.
I mean,
Are also known as caches.
yeah,
Exactly.
but not even caches. Like, if at your destination, let's say your destination is 3-hour drive away from where you're at, you don't even need caches. You could walk that. Your EDC and your 3-day preps can get you to your 3-month preps.
Yeah.
Just something to think about. But alternate skill pursuits. So let's say you do find a couple of people. This is the last line I got before we're just winging it. Let's say all of us, he's like, okay, I'm going to take a long distance shooting course. He's like, I'm going to take a CQB course. Cool. He's taking a tactical med course. And I'm like, you know what? I know a guy. I'm going to take a falconry course because like everybody wants a falconer, right?
Exactly.
A falcon will feed you forever, right? That's like the ultimate life hack, by the way, for preppers. So let's say we all decided to do something different. Well, now we can all teach each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we've just expanded our power like X a degree. I'm sure there's some kind of math equation for that. But that'd be 25%. Thank God there's not 6 people here, or I'd be fucked. But yeah, that's a 4-time increase on the knowledge.
Right now.
Yeah. Math for Marines. That was an MCI for you old types. Grumpy probably knows what I'm talking about. All right, you guys got anything?
I mean, I'm going off. We're gonna jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
But you were going off to the fraud/marauder guy. I'm gonna add 2 guys to that. I'm a scout sniper, special forces Delta operator, but I can never tell you what I did or never where I told you where I went. That's fucking bullshit. Excuse my language, but it's absolutely BS. Because most of those guys, look at Navy SEALs today. They're all writing books, man. Everybody's writing books. Everybody's got a story to tell. Plus, you can usually look up their class number. If you have a question about one of these guys that say something like that, well, you probably know of it. And if you don't, meet one and then like, hey, bro. Or there's probably veteran organizations or YouTubers that will be gladly to go ahead and take over that stolen valor guy for you and just give them exposure. So like that's like I've personally met guys who told me that were Marine scout snipers and then had fake documents from the internet and then send it to the Marine Corps Scout Sniper Foundation. Does this look hard to you? bullshit as fuck, dude. So like, be aware of these guys because all they're gonna do is play Army, play Marine Corps, and get your guys a shot.
Well, okay.
Or shoot your guys.
I got one. And this is like, you guys need to write this shit down because this is going to help you out. If you're going to do stolen valor, and if you're in the Army, say that you're fabric repair. No one will ever bet you on that.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the fuck that is.
They'll never bet you.
I don't even know what that is. No,
They repair parachutes so that they can use them again.
I wasn't there.
And it's a desk job, okay? But what I'm saying is, and if you're in the Marine Corps, say you do water purification, a 25-year grunt veteran will go, oh, like he's got nothing.
Yeah.
Like he can't go, well, where did you train? He doesn't fucking know.
Nope.
Just say you're water purification or fabric repair. If you're going to be stolen valor, just say that. They'll never question you. But everyone sees.
But no, everybody's a Marine Scout
Yeah,
sniper
right, exactly.
or Navy SEAL.
Or the Delta operator that only answered to the president on black site in the middle of South Africa.
Those are small communities.
Yeah, bro.
And the chances are the vet that you're telling that bullshit story to is a phone call away from somebody that can fucking know. Especially when you start talking class numbers.
Yes.
And like class numbers don't lie, dude. You know, like you can find out everything about somebody. Like you can not only find out if they passed, you can find out how much they sucked when they went there.
And they
don't look me up because I didn't do so good on some of those. I passed everything, so fuck me, right?
ADC's passing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the second type of guy is when it all happens, man, I'm just gonna go to the woods and survive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Rambo.
Oh yeah. So like they don't hunt now. They have no
How hard could it be?
skills. They have a
How hard
tent.
could it be?
They don't know tracking. But the thing is, like they're planning to leave the area they know, their house they know, and take all their equipment and go live in a tent. And we're in Southwest Florida, so it ain't gonna be comfortable.
Tent living is not easy.
It's not comfortable. So you got bugs and you got everything.
No, we got bugs that can climb through your clothes zipper.
Exactly.
You know,
Like, this is
for real. Yeah.
like this is you see that right there? That's Florida bug. So like this is where we're at. Exactly. Florida's the Australia of the United States. Everything here naturally is made to kill you. Everything here is made to kill you. So you going into the woods, I'm just gonna go hunt and survive. Yeah, dude, you're gonna go hunt and survive, and then like, okay, you know how to use a bow.
How well did it work for that guy that ran off and puts that like his girlfriend?
Oh yeah, no, the guy that was
Killed his girlfriend.
Yeah, killed his girlfriend
Yeah.
and ran off in the woods and then died in the woods.
Exactly.
Oh, right. The Gabby Petito.
Yes.
Yes.
But you know, in the 90s, there was a
In all
guy.
fairness, I think he wanted to die.
And if you
So
can't,
he just laid up against a tree and
Dude, in Florida, when you get lost in the swamp, you can lay down and just choose to die, and you will not be alive tomorrow.
Yeah, something will come along and decide you.
Yeah, just the power of will. Like the world is trying to kill you the second that you walk in there. You're like, okay, you win, and you just go to the next place. You know, whatever that is. I'm not a religious guy, but but there was that guy in the 90s. He lasted 12 years in the Everglades.
Yes.
12
If you
fucking
can,
years.
That's no.
if you can do it, go into the woods and survive. But the most
can
of
be
the
done.
people that are going into the woods and surviving are setting up a homestead now. I'm going into the woods to purchase land, to put a house on it or a cabin or something like that. That's a more long-term plan versus
You will not be alone. You will not be
Exactly.
the only guy in the
Well, no,
world
Exactly.
trying to hunt and kill each
By
other.
the time you get your shit set up out in the Everglades, by the time you're done with that last shovelful, there'll be a fucking casino next door to you. And you're like, how did that happen? That's happening to me right now. I was out in the middle of nowhere, and like, dude, it is encroaching big time. I don't know. My indigenous Florida rights are being trampled. I think I need reparations or something. I don't know. I get some Trail of Tears. I got a Trail of Tears, my ass, dude. I can feel it. It's coming.
the swamp of tears.
Yeah, right. They're gonna give me a pair of floaties and tell me that.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much those guys they ain't got long to live. No, they ain't got long to live. They're just going out to, like, say you crack a shot, and how many times have you heard this? You know, I'll go to the woods and survive. Countless. Right? So we got thousands of people going out to the woods, and they're not going far. They're going where it's comfortable because humans are lazy. And
Where they think it's far.
Exactly, where they think it's far. They're going maybe a couple hundred meters off the road.
They're going 300 yards off the road.
Like they're not even going to.
They're like, this is it. Middle of nowhere.
Like that's their plan. Now you crack a shot. Well, somebody's going to be a little bit smarter than you. They're going to hear you crack that shot. Now they're going to come take your kill. They're going to kill you and take all your equipment with you. Now your family's out with a hunter. They're out the medic. They're out the operator. They're out the father. They're out the everything because you decided to be the only guy in your whole group to be everything.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. Spread loading knowledge and skills and cross training. And a lot of preppers, they don't purposely do this. For example, I'm into this. Let's say you're Joe Blow, right? You're like, I'm into this, but my entire family thinks I'm crazy. Well, they're going to be resistant to training, to gaining that knowledge because they think it's stupid, right? That person didn't purposely become that guy, but the second it happens, he's that guy. You know. But now there's people that, let's say, fucking macho husband #1, right? And I'm like, that's woman's work, you know? Yeah, right. Well, I'm #1 because I'm the best.
It's 20%.
I'm the best.
I get it.
I'm the best. Got my big old gold chain and all that shit, right? And like, that's woman's work, right? You know, like you don't learn how to shoot. That's woman's work. You don't learn how to do this. That's woman's work. And now I get smoked because I ran out and ran my mouth off to some dude who the one that would, and that he did.
Exactly.
And now, like, you know, my brains are all over the fucking passenger windshield. And now that woman has no idea what the hell's going on. You know, like, that's not very fair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to like your significant other, your spouses, you should know TCC or the basics of stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Because what happens when you come home and your only place was to get home, or that's maybe a riot, 2019, 2020, say you're in Minneapolis or Los Angeles, and you're in the middle of those riots, and you have to get into your apartment building, and you're bleeding out. Like, and you can't use your right arm. You can't use your left arm. You know, you're barely conscious. Well, now you're into a place, and what's your significant other going to do? Sit there and scream, 911 can't happen. They're not coming, and she's going to watch you die.
Yep.
That's not like.
I have no idea what
she
your
doesn't
iPad
have to
is.
be the man.
You know?
She just needs to know how to put a tourniquet on. She doesn't have to be the super tier 1 operator or even the grunt. She just needs to know, I'm going to put the AR to the door, and if anybody comes in with machetes that I don't know, I'm blasting holes through the door. That's it. It doesn't have to be so overcomplicated to be just something simple. Like you were bringing up the grandma baking cookies. You know, if you see somebody that comes to that door, that's not us. Here's an AR just in case. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be Knight's Armament with a Night Force scope and then a Surefire. It could be a Palmetto State with an MSR on it. It doesn't even have to be that. She's 20 feet away. I mean, she's empty the mag.
Doesn't even have to be an AR.
Right? Exactly. It could be a 22.
Yeah.
It could be
Whatever she's comfortable with.
Exactly. Semi-automatic shotgun, something that eats up the recoil a little bit, that she doesn't have to be super active.
But now that little old lady that runs the garden and bakes cookies is saying, you don't have to know how to make a souffle. You just have to know how to run these bags of compost and how to run buckets of water. You know, it goes both ways.
Yep.
And that's where the exchange comes in. And that's where, like, you got a strong back and you're a strong guy. Well, prove it. You know, you'll have plenty of opportunities to show your prowess with helping these people because, like, you know, that little old lady that can make magic in that kitchen probably can't lift that 25-pound bucket of rice, you know, past her hips, you know. She can't even put it on the freaking table, you know, like you'll have a chance to shine, you know, believe me, it'll be too easy.
And there's a place for all these people because they're naturally there. Look at your family. You're going to just leave your grandparents and everybody else behind. Maybe you don't like them, I don't know, whatever. That's your relationship. So, like, you got to look into what's immediately around you and who's immediately around you. Because they're going to come to you if you're kind of any kind of prepper mindset. They're the first person you're coming to when shit hits the thing. They're going to be like, well,
are you accounting for that?
Exactly.
You're saying I got 2 years of preps, really?
Exactly.
Because when 6 extra people show up, now what do you got?
You know, you got 2 months of preps. Like, that's it. Like, like you got 6 more mouths to feed 2 people. That's a significant plan.
That's something that I think more people are going to struggle with than, like, I'm struggling with it out of honesty because I'm actively evaluating my situation. But I think there's a lot of people that think, yeah, I'm doing great, you know, but they're not realizing that like there's a lot more people attached to them than they know.
Yes.
You know,
The math is crazy.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, the math of calories is pretty insane.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on being a walk-on, at least for yourself individually and anybody individually that you might be bringing with you, at least 1 month of food, bare minimum.
Yes.
It's going to
That's absolute bare minimum.
yeah, absolute bare minimum. That's gonna exponentially multiply.
But that's almost not even bare minimum for me. I would say 3 months because let's look at this. Let's say that there's a self-sufficient community that, let's say, I don't want to throw names out, but you know, the one guy that's near Oklahoma that does the videos all the time. Let's say that guy. Let's say you got an in with that dude, right? And you show up with 5 or 6 guys. Well, they could sustain you, but they didn't know they were going to have 6 more guys.
Yeah.
So there's a growing season that they're going to have to adapt for those numbers, which takes what, 3 months, you know,
Minimal.
the turnaround.
Minimal. Yeah.
So those 3 months are gone, and you're going to be at nothing. So you really want to have more than 3 months because you're going to have to live on that stuff. You're going to basically have to throw that in the pot to pay for you arriving there, right?
Yes.
And then you want to have 3 months. So you really have to have 6 months in that particular prepper math, right? Walking into a fully polished, stacked community, it's going to come at a higher price. We were talking about this before, and it's funny because like we were getting way more in detail on this stuff before we did this, which is weird. But like, I think we're doing this at the right level. I think we were going a little too hard in the paint before.
We're going a little
But like,
crispy on it.
it's
You
good
guys
to
get your
practice
rant,
that.
then we're good.
But if you have everything, and you're going to a group that's locked on, they're going to go, "That's all you got."
Yep.
But if you're only halfway locked on and you're around a group of people that are halfway locked on, they're going to be glad to have you, but you're going to be fucked up.
Yep.
You're not going to have enough stuff.
Yep.
So would you rather be the star player of the Bad News Bears that like the odds are against them, or would you rather be the smallest fish in the pond of people that are going to make it? You know, and you want to be at least the smallest fish in the pond that's going to make it.
Do you want to be the best of the worst or the worst of the best?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And like, you know, static security and gardening are 2 things that are definitely going to happen, right?
Yes.
And neither one of those tasks are hard. Neither one of them are difficult. That you could master both of those, and you could show up and say, which way do you want me to go? You know? Now, when you start getting into patrolling, when you start getting into animal husbandry, when you start getting into some of these other specializations, yeah, like now we're talking about you're upping your skill level, you're kind of upping your worth.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, what if you go to you end up in one of those underground bunker prepper places and they don't have any animals? You're like, man, I know everything about animals, and they're like, well, we don't have any. Like, later, bro, you know. I don't know. It's like you kind of want to spread load your skills too.
A jack of all trades.
So somebody brought this up in the chat. They've found mag groups, but they don't know how to build trust with them. So what's one way that you're brand new, starting out, you're looking for a mag, and you want to instill trust in this mag?
Oh, that's easy. You get a patch that says "not a Fed" on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's it. You say not a Fed.
Yeah,
and then
you're not allowed to do that. If you're a Fed, you can't have.
You
a
don't
patch
say
that
the
says "not a
N-word.
Fed."
You
Yeah,
don't say the J, the number after 5. You don't say that, and you pretty much A-okay.
no, that's difficult though. How did we do?
For me, I mean, I keep my observation hat on. I come from a little bit of a background, so I kind of can lean on that a little bit.
So in this particular scenario, what they're talking about is they're trying to join a mag.
Okay.
So they want the mag to trust them,
And vice versa.
not
Okay.
the mag that, you know.
Yeah, I got you. So
I mean, best way to do
Rough
that
water,
is,
man.
talking to people, getting out. You
Drink a
gotta-
beer, maybe.
Yeah, you
that
gotta
leads
get out of
into
your shell.
conversation you brought up.
Absolutely.
that like
Do events.
yeah, exactly.
Do events. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be shooting all the time. I mean, you could do a swimming event.
Yep.
You guys can all go to hang out at the pool, have a barbecue, go swimming, see who's the best swimmer.
Ropes, knots.
Ropes.
Medical, obviously, Cash brought that up, but medical's an easy one because everybody can do it
to everybody.
and everybody's guard can be up because nobody's compromising anything. Nobody's bringing guns. Nobody's doing anything. It's like we're learning how to save lives. It's totally kosher, you know.
Another way, everybody wants to have a bug out bag. Do an open ruck,
Yep.
right? You set a 3 mile, 4 mile course. You all meet up. You set a place, time, and you just do an open ruck, right?
It's a great idea.
Yeah, you talk and you work out and
Yep.
you see who's.
What you got in your bag? Well, I
Yeah.
got this in my bag. This might help.
Yep. Kind of like it's kind of going on the same point of like how do you find friends? You know, like you think of that process, but you're adding preps and a level of value and selling yourself to.
Absolutely.
So like so if you kind of find friends, where do you like to go and where do you want to be? It kind of goes into the location and like how to meet people and stuff like that. But eventually you're gonna have those conversations. Or say you go to that barbecue and you didn't like anybody. Well, you got free food and you're out. You know what I mean? Like whatever. You didn't lose.
But you know, another thing is if you go to a barbecue and you don't like anybody there, maybe it's you.
Hey, yeah,
You know,
that's true. That's true.
Maybe you're the asshole. You know what I mean?
I will say this though: if you're attempting to join a mag or group, show yourself as a good teammate.
Yep.
You don't have to be the superstar, but if you just show yourself as a good teammate,
Yes.
in any particular scenario, you will be valuable.
Yes. One thing also kind of going off like the Army, find the job nobody wants to do. Find that job and be the best at it. Like everybody wants to be the sniper in SEAL teams, and everybody wants to do the
No, wait,
door
everybody
kicker,
that's
door
never
kicker,
done
the
it wants to
breacher.
do it.
Exactly. So that's the appeal because we have that Hollywood mentality, this media and stuff. But I'm saying, be the RTO, be the radio guy, be the comms guy. Why? You're going to go on every mission. There's going to be a radio every single mission.
You know what? The quickest way to join a mag is get hand certified, and then tell these people you're hand certified.
Yep. Find something
They will
nobody
take
wants
you.
to do, and then sell that. Everybody wants to do the whole gun culture, like you said, the red dot culture. Is this IMTs, SUTs, patrolling, static security? What chest rig to do this? What kind of pouch? Blah blah blah. And if it's not that conversation, it goes into camo conversation. Exactly. So you have all that, but find like, oh well, hey man, well I see your group's doing this, and you guys are talking about like herbology and horticulture, and they're talking about like growing vegetables. Well, like I'll learn a little about that, and then you go a couple YouTube rabbit trails later, and you're gonna find out like how to make some salves, how to make soap, how to do this, how to water filter, how to do stuff that nobody else wants to do because it's not the cool guy thing.
But see, check this out though, man. Like, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's people watching this right now. That's what they do, and they're looking for other people.
Yes.
And it's what I'm saying is like these people are already here. Like you got machinists, and you've got vets that were shooters, and you've got vehicle mechanics, and you've got like, man, all these people are already here.
Yes.
But they're just not, doing that thing where they're clicking, and they're starting to do meetups and stuff like that. People are starting to kind of network a little more. But is this happening fast enough to keep up with how fast things are changing right now? And I'm not trying to make this a political commentary, you know what I mean? But like shit is coming down the pipe faster and faster and faster. And by the way, there was a unit in Georgia that they told them to make a mile of trenches. Why would the Army be telling an engineering unit to make a mile of trenches for new soldiers to train in?
Yep.
Kind of weird how where they were sending us all to desert training, and then 20 years later, we're like, holy fuck, we just now left the goddamn desert, right? We're training in trenches now.
Yep.
What does that possibly give you an idea of what's about to happen?
We were starting to do trench warfare in 2014. We were just starting to do it. We were 20-foot trenches, engineer blowing sea wire, making a breach, doing through Moses pole.
Yeah, we've always done Bangalores and all that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is like an actual fucking trench network.
Look at Ukraine, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're not trying to say, but like any military worth their salt, any country worth their salt can prepare for what's actually going on. Yeah. And that's what just happened.
But I think there's going to be more of the same when it comes to geopolitics. Also, not to doom and gloom this or anything, but BRICS is really starting to fire up the engine.
Yep.
I talked to Uman and John from the Prepared Mind about this a bit, and I think I talked to you guys a little bit too, but yeah, BRICS is getting ready to turn the key and rev the engine a little bit. I think when does that happen? In August, right?
August 22nd to the 24th. There's so far from when I last checked, 41 countries that are committed to whatever they say. And they already agreed on it per contract. And then at least another 20 countries in line after that. Remember, there's only 194 countries in the United States. About half
In the world.
in the world. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there you go. I'll speak English eventually.
Well, you just spoke Soros for a second there.
Exactly. I'm trying to. I showed you my plan.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. You got to bet.
Exactly. You never know who's a spy.
Yeah.
But there's about 194 countries in the world, and we're looking at about half of those already wanting to do BRICS. 41 saying yes, on top of people that are already in BRICS. So
if that happens,
you think of your inflation. So we put out a lot of money, and everybody says we don't need this anymore, and they give it back. And now it's sitting on the country. Go look at Germany, 1930. That's all I'm going to say.
oh, like with the Rentenmark and the Weimar Republic.
Exactly. Like it might be crazy. So kind of going off of preparedness and building assets and selling yourself, and kind of the preparedness equipment, hygiene, basic utilities. Go look at the stuff that happened, like your thing you did from Bosnia.
Oh yeah.
Stocks.
Yeah, so we'll try to link that in the comments. But it's an example of like this guy literally said he could have been a millionaire, owned any AK you wanted to get literally a bag of big lighters. Like think about the basic stuff. Like be that guy who goes on deployment and the shit hits the fan. It literally just has a talk box full of cigarettes and logs of dip. Because guess what? When it hits the fan, you'll be able to be marketable. Be that trade guy. Be the guy who starts that bazaar. Because everybody will start trading with you and nobody will start messing with you. Because if your office or your store or your little trade location for bartering goes away, then all the guys around you now lose that source.
Yeah.
So if one attacks you, you got 5 guys that are willing to defend you and 5 groups willing to defend
That also comes off a surplus.
Exactly.
You know, if your group is really good at gardening,
buy shit from Marcus.
Yeah, if your group is really good at gardening, or you got some really good tailors, or you got some really good really good mechanics, you know, you have things that other people want. That's in a world without currency, you know, in a barter system, that's money. You know.
Always professional.
And you know, but
It'll be free as fuck everywhere.
yeah, we probably don't want to talk about that.
Hey, you too.
You know, if things get really tough, there are ways to get by, but
I'm mumbling. So.
you don't want to be that guy or girl or whatever, you know. Reminds me of Reno 911, the guy with the roller skates. Like, you know how that dude never starved, you know? He didn't have a home. He just, like, yeah, I guess roller skates and meth, that's all you need, really.
Basically.
I mean, go look at the Nazis, man. Look at on the last year of the whole war.
Well, it was Pervitin. Come on. It's Adderall. It's not meth. It's different.
It was medicinal.
Yeah, it's medicinal, yeah. That's yeah, go figure. Yeah, the old BA. Gotta love those guys.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah.
That's
What else?
we got for kind of the points, kind of the filling from what I wrote down earlier. Wolves in sheep clothing. That's kind of giving Marauders.
What was the one with all the words?
So many words.
Too, man. Let me see.
Plug out.
Whatever the mainstream media and even alt media is pushing, a bunch of shit. Whatever. It will be something no one ever saw coming. Who had C19? Oh, who had C19 shut down on their bingo card? Everyone had EMP. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, man. We haven't even talked about COVID. I think we're allowed to.
Can we say that word now?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I was
I think
wondering.
it's over, right?
As Big Brother allowed.
Yeah, isn't it over now?
I still see people.
I mean, people are still wearing masks, but
No. Well, I know.
COVID on social media.
Well, I know Kamala boasted her population reduction again. So
Yeah,
that one might
mind
be over.
advertising that.
Yeah. Maybe there's another one coming. I don't know.
Freudian slip. What?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh God, Bill Gates has the best ones though. My God, he like goes nuclear on his misspeaks.
I'm going to steal a bunch of technology, then sell it back to the government.
No, when he talks about wiping out the
And
population and stuff.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I'm
been
saying
saying
about
that
Gates.
I know he's been saying it for years,
Yeah.
right? He said it right before he was in India where he immunized
Yeah,
all those
right
kids
before
and like fucking killed them all. Like whoops! Oh, did I just sterilize that whole
yeah.
colony in Africa? I sterilized them? Wow, that's weird. Oh yeah. Then he goes to another conference and he's like, yeah, we need to reduce population. I'm sure that was an accident. Whatever he did, you know.
Looks like the clean water for Africa. Like, we still have dirty water there. Didn't you do something about this thing?
Apparently we can't talk about Hunter.
Oh, we're going to talk about Hunter?
Oh god.
Hunter Biden.
Oh, God.
man.
We are going for
The laptop war.
Full live stream. No stop, boys. I love it. I love it. Sorry, it's not a Telegram, guys.
Is this the stream?
That's StreamYard.
You can't.
StreamYard's running into
So
this.
Cherokee
This dude doesn't even know how this shit works. I didn't know how
Did
to
you,
work
did
5
you
minutes
see
ago.
the Anthony Weiner interview?
Get a podcast.
No. He got interviewed the other day, and the guy asked him explicitly about the human evidence emails and the,
What's that? Oh, like
And he,
you talking about the Hillary emails?
yeah, no, all
He
the
freaked out or he dropped it?
he tried to like, he just like went like flip shit. Like he literally was like trying to project the whole time. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's not true. That's not true. Oh yeah, I'll show it to you guys later. It's pretty bad.
Well, those before they got buried, we're talking like 2010, right? Something like that. The emails between Hillary and Anthony Weiner talking about like, oh man, we're getting way tinfoil hat here, but the stuff they were talking about at the time, I was going like, well, I mean, I've heard about this, but this seems just way too far fetched. This can't be real. I wish I could read those emails again because now that I know what we know now,
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Like with all that adrenochrome shit. And dude, I haven't seen that movie yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Sound of Freedom movie yet. I haven't. You guys?
I haven't seen it, but my sister has, and she said it's, yeah. It changes your perspective on a lot of things because, like the Jim Carrey or whatever the actor. Yeah. So he said on Sean Ryan, he's like, the Epstein Island's not the only sex island out there, and it's just like it sounds so basic, but like, everybody's been so focused on this one guy. Well, like it's kind of been a distraction.
Well, have we been focused on that one guy though? Because the people on that list are still running the country.
Yeah,
They're still running the whole world. We haven't done shit to them. Like if anything else, they're like, oh, we have this as evidence, so now we have to protect him because now we're staking him out or whatever. And it's like bullshit. You know, like our Department of Justice and FBI. Well, are we allowed to even say that? I don't know. Probably not. I'm not going to say.
Alphabet agencies.
Yeah. Somebody's
Best way to
full of some shit here, and
the AFT, right?
Yeah, right.
AFT.
Yeah, those guys too.
Because they don't exist.
Deciding that like a business card for what channel where they put the CRS firearms. They decided his metal business card was a machine gun. Are you serious?
We're just couldn't even make three out of four of them work.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was what we decided to let those fuckers get away with.
Yes.
And they moved the goalpost and they're doing whatever the fuck they want.
Yes.
So is it their fault or is it our fault at this point? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the Constitution, legally, if you see it from like a lawyer's perspective, is a contract between the government and its people. Because it both limits the people and it limits the government. It's our duty through the Constitution, through checks and balances, to have rights if certain things don't pan out. Now, we haven't necessarily did our duty, and people could say media, distraction, consumerism, capitalism, communism, socialism, fucking conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory. But I do think there is a level of neglect that we did do.
Yes.
Because look at the 60s to now, the Eisenhower and the Kennedys of the past to now, all it is just more radicalization and the wedge being split. We don't have the Democrat and the Republican that are coming together that both love the country. we're having, well, my interpretation and your interpretation,
Or my lobbyist.
and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then this. We're going to do an investigation council. Like, it's been the same stuff since literally Al Gore and Bush.
Well,
It's
I
like
think
he stole this, and a bunch of lawsuits back and forth, and that's all it's been since in the president realm. You know what I mean?
right.
And it's just kind of more radicalized and more extreme to where we've impeached the president 2 times. Now we're looking at doing this one, and no matter what one guy does, the other guy can get away with it.
We're at a point now where if you want to bribe the government, let's say we started an illegal amusement park in the swamp where you could ride alligators that were endangered, right? Let's pretend. We're not really doing that, so don't shoot my dog. But like,
This is our business.
I'm just saying, let's pretend. If I wanted to get away with that, and I had a bunch of investors, and I was like, I have enough money to bribe one person. Who am I going to bribe? I would flip my Rolodex through all of the members of government, and I would get to the pharmaceutical industry, and I would pay one of them and say, here, make these guys do what I want to do. Because they have such an open door with the government. They control the government. And everybody says, oh man, we need to defund the NRA. Remember when you used to hear that shit all the time? Because they didn't even know that the NRA wasn't a government entity. Like, I thought that was hilarious, but
Yes.
I'm like, okay, wish granted that we've defunded the NRA. Now what do you want? You know, like, but the pharmaceutical industry and the lobbyists there, look at this whole bug coof thing and look at what happened. They made guaranteed customers. Like, man, you go even back to like the 90s, which totally failed on testing, and they just paid money and pushed it through anyway. So like, you know that they're going to do what they're going to do. But the reason why they're going to do what they're going to do is because they own our politicians. Monsanto, who was elected or appointed the agriculture czar, a fucking Monsanto employee.
Yep.
And then they said, oh, well, we're going to change what organic means. We're going to change what this means. We're going to change what this means. And now it's like, you know, all these other countries have outlawed genetically modified organisms and stuff. And with us, we're putting organic labels on it. We're putting fucking organic labels on GMOs. Like, yeah, this is safe. Here, give this to your kids, you know?
To the point where we're no longer actually like harvesting chickens. They're no longer just like these genetically mutant animals like the
Franken chicken.
Yeah, like the Cornish cross and all that other stuff though, which is a big chicken breed for that. But like to the point where now we're just growing it in a lab, and it's called non-slaughtered meat, and it's literally non-killed meat. So we're literally just growing chicken, and what's the nutrient value of that compared to something else in the world?
I don't know. I'm afraid.
Like look at Americans versus the rest of the world. Just Europeans. All right, and we got a majority white population with a majority white population. Look at our health.
Do we know?
Like,
not anymore.
Well,
not Europe. I mean, Europe has changed.
Depending, like we'd say the Balkans.
Dude, that whole migrant push, man, has changed the demographic in England and Ireland, and a lot of these other countries, Norway, Sweden, Iceland, like there's some shit happening there, and I actually think we're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah,
but
what I'm getting to is just the diet. Like,
yeah, I know where you're going, but I
vaccinated.
Yeah,
like we sit in front of a box every single night. Like, yeah, this is good. We're learning and stuff like that, but like we've become such a entertainment and media center.
But you know what we do though?
And we export it.
We work more than everybody else.
Yes.
And this is the thing. Like we're saying that we're abject to being enslaved and stuff. We're already fucking enslaved.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the 13th month in Europe where like they get a month off and they get an extra month of pay to just go do whatever the fuck they want, right? When have we ever had that? We've never had that.
That's a damn
like,
good job in America.
If you're working 40 hours a week, you're kind of like, you know, people go, man, you only work 40 hours a week. Like, how are you getting by? You know, that's how we're doing things here. Like, we are working our whole lives. We can't do any more for these fuckers, you know? I mean, like, the markets are all jacked up. And right now, it's like, you got Zoomers waiting on boomers to die so they can buy a house, you know? And it's like, we're talking about this Epstein Island shit, which is like, it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
But like, my God, we're eating fucking poison and people can't even afford to live in a house anymore. You know, like, we've got so much other shit in front of our face. And then we're supposed to be worried about people in fucking Ukraine. man, I can give a shit about people in Ukraine. I'm just gonna be honest, you know, like they put some puppet fucking actor that played piano with his wiener in charge of this fucking country, and then you wonder like, how did they become so corrupt that they're doing fucking drug deals with, you know, Joe Biden's son? Not only Joe Biden's son though, you got Pelosi, Romney, fucking John Kerry. Remember that fucking piece of shit? All their kids are in on this. You know, it's not just Hunter Biden. He's the one that got hooked. He's the dumbass that got caught, you know, but they all got their kids in there. You know, every fucking one of them. Maybe not every one of them, but we know there's like 5 or 6 of them, right? That's enough for me. And these are the people that we're going, well, a Republican will do something about it. Well, elect Romney. Find out what happens, you know? Because that dude is in the same boat that they're in. And like all these rhinos, man, like they're just as fucking dangerous. And it's not even a left and right thing anymore, but like the paradigm is like obvious. You know what I mean? There's good, there's bad, there's fucked up, and I don't know. I mean, where are we at? Like, how do we get out of that?
It's pretty bad where we're at, honestly. I don't see a way out. Can't vote our way out of it.
Yeah, circle the wagons.
That's really the only option, unfortunately.
And to try to make sense out of that, Rand, circle the wagons. We have to find each other. We have to be able to be immune to this collapse that we're at risk of having from all different angles. It's all coming in.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, we're here, right? And like, it's going to take people you can trust. And you just have to not be worth it, you know? The savages, the starving masses that are going to be refugees coming out of the city when the supply system collapses, the marauders, the government defectors, the foreign contractors that are peacekeepers that are setting up UN rape stations on your street corners. Like, you have to be able to make a stronghold where all those people look at it and they go, man, that's not worth it. That's too much of a risk. You're going to have to be meaner than that eventually. But that little old lady baking cookies, she needs to find some people that are willing to fucking flip the switch, you know? And because people that flip the switch they're going to need to have those calories. They're going to need to have, you know, you're going to need to have the whole picture. You're going to have to be self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining.
And yeah. And imagine like, you know, like another good one to find. People that do this on a small degree. All those crazy Civil War reenactors, you know what they do? They go for a week at a time and they live with no electricity. It's like, they seem a little weird, but like they're already doing it in small degrees. If you went to one of those people, or if you joined a Civil War reenacting group and said, hey man, what if we had to do this for a year? What would you want to have? You know? Boom, there's your answer right there. You know, like whatever those guys would say, you need to have that. You know, that would be a life hack, probably, I'd say. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's definitely a resounding sentiment of self-sustainability, but a lot of people are saying that there's not going to be a Mad Max now. It's going to be a slow burn until the actual Mad Max portion, which is partially correct.
How far are we in on the slow burn? That started like 30 years ago.
Yeah, the slow burn has been going on for quite a while now. Like, I mean, I'm fairly young, but I know I've been looking into this shit the last.
Since you've been aware, it's been happening.
You know,
like, since before you were aware.
Before I was aware, it's been happening. So what portion are we at the slow burn now? At this point,
I think we're at the point where the dollar is going to take a shit. Like, that's
almost tomorrow. I mean,
right. That's that's a quick pull of the plug. The other one is we're messing around with Russia. We're messing around with China. Okay, these are peers. This isn't Vietnam jungle. This isn't sandbox shit. Like, we're messing with people that have planes, that have the artillery, they have MLRS batteries. They got all the same shit we got. Like, when we start sending our 80% unfit young people to face these guys, that's going to be a wake-up call. The dollar dying is going to be a wake-up call. If we don't resolve our sanctity in our country, like, there was just a mass shooter attempt in Fargo, which was clearly like an Islamic thing. And I don't have anything against Islam. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, like, it was clearly an Islamist thing. Like a guy was gonna give it to people, but he got into it with the cops, and it got squashed, you know. But what I'm saying is, like, these people are getting here, you know, and that's a time bomb, right? Man, if none of that happens, we're doing pretty good with these jabby jabs, you know. Like, we're kind of state of the art on that at this point. Like, and we got people just waiting for the next thing, and
Or developing the next thing.
right, you know, like it's the, what do they call it, Hegelian dialect or whatever, where, like, you know, they come up with a problem, then they come up with the solution, and then they find the problem. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like it's hard to pick which one it's going to be, you know. But if we do nothing, that's when we have the slow burn. But we're almost at the point where we've had too much nothing. We're pretty good at doing nothing, right? But it's something almost has to happen, you know. We've been letting nothing happen for too long. They're getting bolder and bolder and bolder. Like, look at this. Like, investigations. I mean, I'm not a Trump fan, okay? You know, I think we were way better off than Trump, than the guy that's, you know, asleep at the wheel right now. But they're investigating Trump, and they are actively not investigating anybody else. You know, like, they have all this evidence, and there's all these red lights flashing, and they're going, no, that's not it. This is it. Let's go back to, like, 2020. Let's go back to. It's like they're just giving this dude a pass on everything. Like, that is corruption right there. That is corruption. That is, our State Department is not on our team, clearly, you know. So who are they working for, right? Whose team are they on? Like, let's just try to figure that out. Just think about that when you're at work, you know, on Monday or whatever. Just think, okay, so who are they working for, and why are they doing what they're doing? And, like, I don't have the answer to that. But it just really, when your government stops representing the people, who the hell are they representing? You know, who's giving them their marching orders? Who's driving the bus is what I'm saying, you know. And it's, I don't know. It's bizarre to me, if you really want to know. But I do know that, man, if this system in this country tries to flip this shit on me, I'm not taking it fucking sitting down. That's all I can tell you, you know. And I hope you all have the same attitude, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Are we about ready to wrap this, or what? We're digging deeper.
I heard something corruption out there, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, right. I know. Like,
he hit on corruption.
We're supposed to be talking about
$280,000 a year. How is your net worth $120 million?
Well, it's like, this is for people that just started prepping. Hey, the jab, fucking Nancy Pelosi, here, buy some Amway, you know? Like, we just kind of fucked it up at the end. Well, I wish I had a sponsor. I'd be like, you know, if you're a new prepper, you really want to buy this knife from, you know, so-and-so survival company. You're not going to make it if you don't have this.
Yeah, if you're not rocking Spirit Systems, quad knots, a bump helmet, oh no, full Kevlar, Team Windy system, or 3M, whatever you want to go with.
No, I want to make the bump helmet with Kevlar on top that flips on and off.
Oh, that's not.
With 2 sets of knobs. So, like, one's here and the other one's here. So, like, when you flip it, it just, like, goes around and you can have dual, you know? And you're like, no, but this is just half a thread. I'll flip this one back, you know?
I was thinking about making a screen here and getting, like, 4 sets of quad knots, or 3060. Yeah. And it's a bunch of mirrors.
Your own back.
Exactly, bro. It's a one-man team, 360-degree security all the time, man.
We were actually, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but we were thinking about doing a night vision video, but we don't really know how to do it. Like, so we're trying to figure out how to do it.
Like, does anybody know a filter for night vision for cameras?
Yeah.
Like,
That would help us out.
Yeah.
If not, we're doing the whole PBS 14 to it the whole time. Like, you know, please.
Yeah.
Look, man, you know this stuff. Help us.
We were like, this would be really cool. We're going to do this. And we were like, that fucking sucks. That's not going to work.
Hey, you'll see it. You're going to hear really cool music, but you're just going to see black and like a little bit of gray area.
I don't know. We're working on it. Like, we were going to do it. We got setbacks.
Hey,
there were little technical difficulties.
Viking night vision just torches through the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
No, that's not.
Yeah, it's hot, but it sounded like discipline, bro.
We'll have to make sure to do that in rain.
So
We just heard one of your neighbors cracking off like 10 rounds.
It's like we went out there to go take a piss, and we just hear.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's our static security. See, don't drop that bomb in Fort Myers.
Oh man, like nobody wants to come out here. That's funny.
Yeah, but create a mag. You
Yeah,
can use the internet.
yeah,
Man.
there's mosquitoes out here. That's about it.
Yeah, you can use the internet. Your mags. That's how I found you guys.
It is, but I'll tell you, man,
Risky,
YouTube in
shout
particular,
out,
though,
hashtag.
there are people in Florida that were on YouTube, and I threw that line out a few times, and I was like, hey, I'm in Florida. What part of Florida are you in? Oh, I can't tell you that. Upset. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, you know.
Whatever, bro.
And that was what I was weird when you were like, I'm in this area and I'm looking for people, and I was like, oh, I was like, dude, that never works. I tried that 100 times, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I could just tell them where I'm from too, you know. I guess I almost was that guy.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
Like, no, I'm not falling for that shit. Nobody does that, you know.
I don't know this shit.
Right, Ben.
Yeah.
No, you're not getting me today.
Well, how it all started was watched Risky Crispy for the last few years. He had a Discord at one point, and I was kind of like looking for that, and I found the Telegram, and God, man, I'm sorting through that thing and trying to find people and all that other stuff. So my first message is anybody in South Florida that trains, and Bug's like, well, maybe me. He was testing me out. He's like, this guy is a fed. Like this guy, like fed, whatever. But and I literally just did that, and we went to a flat range up in one of the counties to the north, and then we just kind of like felt each other out, like, you know, like, what's this guy about? And then ended up talking. He's like, well, you gotta meet my guys, man, and all this other stuff.
Well, there's a couple of them there too, which was weird.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic.
One in a million, not planned or anything, but it was like there was already people there.
Sure.
No, it wasn't. I was just as shocked as you were that they were there.
But yeah, and so you can use your two tools at your disposal, man. Be resourceful.
Well, and a lot of these guys,
biggest thing. Be resourceful.
and I'm glad that a lot of these people are starting to meet each other, because like these guys for years have been in these chats talking to each other, and some of them are like a state away. Some of them are in the same state. Like North and South Carolina seems to have a ton of people. Out west, Arkansas, Missouri, Ozark area,
Idaho.
and yeah.
Let me interject and say this: while you're looking for a mag and those people that you truly trust, continue to build your buckets and your resources for yourself and your family, and you'll find those other people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like when you do meet those other people, the first thing when they evaluate you is they're going to be like, well, where are you at? And it's not a positive or negative thing. They're going to be like, where are you at? Because it's like, okay, I got 10,000 bullets and I got 10 guns and I got this many fucking whatever. And you're like, okay, well, where are you at with food? You know? And they're like, oh yeah, that's important.
I got 3 cans of ravioli.
Yeah, but I got 3 cans of ravioli. I'm good. You know? You're like, well,
it's good for half a day.
I got an idea. We're going to work on that, you know? And you can bring other people up to speed, just like when someone else says, I'm going to bring you up to speed on this, or like that little old lady says, you need to know how to, you know, repair holes in your socks. And you might want to listen to her. I don't know. She probably knows what she's talking about. I don't know.
Well, Great Depression, like that's a great example of growing up. It's society, the world's still kind of working. There's other places with wars going on across the globe, but you're focusing on your daily life. And that's kind of like where trades come into selling your value. Like, we're like, hey man, I'll fix this electrical panel and fix this wiring if you give me a bucket of rice. Or something like that. Like those trades that never expire.
Or you're just going to be in a state of constantly, because okay, if civilization died, so does building codes,
Yep.
So does code enforcement,
Yep.
So does fucking all that shit, right? So you will constantly be in a state of assembling things.
Yes.
Because what's stopping you at that point? You know, like
seamstresses.
Like deconstructing areas and then reconstructing that abandoned farmhouse that's 3 miles away. That's a place that Marauders can hole up and use as a base of operations to survey your area. If you have any abandoned structures around you want to take them apart. But guess what? If you got carpenters, you got plumbers, and you got electricians. You can take that shit back to your place and make another place.
Yep.
You can just expand on the shit that you have. Blown out fucking sort of shitty plywood that's kind of old. That could be a chicken coop, though. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe not good for a house, but like you could make a dog house out of it or whatever. You can salvage all that shit.
Like, take what pioneers used to do in Westward expansion. They would build a house for the wintertime. They would take the fall to build a small cabin. And then when it came to move for the next spring to continue going west, they would burn that cabin down just to keep the nails.
Yeah.
Go to the next one. So, like, they got to think the screws, the nuts, the bolts, the hardware store, that goes into prepping as well. Just like the ladder, the generator.
So glad you brought that up.
So somebody has a question. So, what are your thoughts on the weather taking south for the situation?
Oh, you're asking the wrong people.
Every year, so it's yeah.
Like we dealt with Ian last year.
I was gonna say this time last year, I was under like fucking 13 inches of water, you know.
Water skiing through your yard.
Yeah.
If you're a Floridian and you live on the beach, you should already have a kind of a prepper mindset. Like if you're living anywhere in the coastal counties, like water, generator, fuel, backup, solar power, you're kind of already thinking about those things. Expand. That's it. Just expand.
But I mean, check this out though. This is what I do think about to support that question though. That Doppler radar and all that other stuff, like a week in advance that something's coming.
Yes.
What if you didn't know a week in advance that something might be coming? You know, and suddenly it just shows up. Like that's going to be a curveball. Like you're going to have to learn how to read that weather like the old timers did.
Yes. Smell the air, feel like.
If you're lucky and you broke your body a couple times, you already have a Doppler radar inside of you, that can tell you. But it's like you're still kind of like behind the power curve there,
So that goes back to self-sustaining. You have to understand how to read the beginning of Kestrel, right? Being able to tell the winds, being able to tell atmospheric pressure.
Well, tell them what a Kestrel is, because actually, like,
well, you're the weather.
You're one of the like this is one of the things that he did. It's a chance to kind of blow your horn there, but you should explain that a little more.
So one of my jobs in the Navy was forecasting weather. A great tool is called a Kestrel. What a Kestrel is a small little device. It's like no bigger than the cell. Well, a little bit smaller than the cell phone. Okay? Basically, it'll give you your atmospheric pressure, your barometric pressure, wind speed, wind direction, obviously temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit, whatever you plug it into. And you'll take all of these data points, and basically you'll take all these data points at least once an hour or every other hour, every single day, and you'll write them down. And that way you'll be able to see if the atmosphere is basically dropping, the pressure in the atmosphere is dropping, or rising, and that'll give you different readings on different weather patterns. So
we're building a dope for weather. Pretty much, building a dope for weather.
When the internet goes down,
how are you gonna know?
that's important.
Yeah, so like last August there was this temperature and this, and I got a tropical storm, and say that matches again with the same measurements you did this year. Maybe not. Maybe it won't happen. But
So
put the boards up anyway.
Exactly.
if you had one of those, could you make a calendar with like a really crazy face in the middle that like?
I mean,
Because the Aztecs did that, which was pretty cool.
You would have to write that down separately. Like it doesn't really store data that well. Like it only stores data, I think, for like a day or two.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
So my whole thing, and this is kind of a little bitch I have with history, but there's all these natural disasters and emergencies that happen. Why were people in the Stone Age just always worried about tracking the sun all the time? Like, you think they'd be worried about some of the other shit, like the extinction events that took them out? But instead, they're like, "Oh man, this is the first day of summer. Who gives a fuck?" Like, I'm worried about the tidal wave. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I would have been a lousy fucking like
Okay.
Iron Age, Stone Age guy. I don't know. Maybe that's more important for farming though. Maybe I just showed my ignorance there. I don't know.
Oh, beautiful. What's up, Magic?
Oh, he just heard us go off about Nancy Pelosi. Uh-oh.
Isn't he going live? Isn't he something? What's up, Magic?
He's got a bunch of.
I know that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He's got that. I got the Shaka white hair too, actually.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
He's got it pretty solid.
I know. His is way more defined than mine.
It's pretty
Yeah.
legit.
I'm an apprentice status, but I have the Nick Fury right now. You know, I'm working on Magic Prepper.
He's straight up Mr. Magic. White streak. Well, that's
about it.
I can continue on. Anybody got any comments, questions, concerns? Do the YouTube things. Drop a comment, do a like, subscribe. Woo!
I'm not even on the comments on this thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, dude.
Glad to be hanging out.
Anarchy Television does some cool stuff. He's a kind of bit of a radio guy himself.
I'll have to check him out.
Okay.
Yeah, but next video we're gonna be doing. I don't know if it's gonna be a video or a stream, but is what to do once you have found your route.
Yeah. We
We're
want
gonna
to.
make this a series.
Yeah, we want to kind of do this in order. And I don't know. I hope we did all right on this one because we did kind of get lost in the weeds for a second there. But
ADHD on all of our brains.
yeah.
That's okay. We're all registered with autistic, so
Yeah, right. But the next thing is like what to do next. You know, you find a couple people, then it's like, now what do you do? You know. So we want to kind of like just sort of do the progression. You know. I don't know. Hopefully this was good. I can't really think of anything to add. Tomorrow, I'm gonna think of a lot of cool shit that we should have said, you know. But
So maybe there'll be a part 2.
it's always like the best
yeah,
argument.
you'll be driving home and you'll be like
2 hours later.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
man, I should have said that. Oh, it would have been so cool.
I'll call you on Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. He's just gonna be like, "Hey, bro."
Yeah. Oh, like it's gone.
But man,
It's like
mags are cool. These guys are cool. You're cool. And if you're not cool, then you're not cool.
Well, one
Sucks to suck, nerd.
no. Well, one thing I'll leave this with though is like, if you have a perimeter, let's say it's a square, you have 5 points of security that you need to worry about. You have 4 corners and an entry point, right? That's at least 5 people that need to be there, which means if you're going to do 12-hour shifts, that's 10 people. 10 people. Nobody's cooking, nobody's gardening, nobody's doing anything. If you're really doing, just security, just static security. You're not even patrolling your area to make sure nobody's watching you or anything. Like, if you're doing it right, you know, and that's the thing, you have to figure out what right is, because to do it absolutely right, I don't think a lot of these groups are going to have enough people to do everything the way it's supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a solid set of compromising, and that's where the cross training comes in, because like everybody might have to be security, everybody might have to be a gardener, everybody might have to be everything, you know. If you got a group with 6 people, that's where you're sitting, you know. It's more responsibility on you. That lack of specialization means that you're going to have to learn more, you know. Well, try to learn more now, and then it'll only get easier as you upgrade, you know. The responsibility doesn't change, but the scope of work will change, you know. And yeah, that's kind of, I guess
that's a good thought.
Yeah,
Moving forward in the mags and how many people you would need.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
At a minimum.
And the typical roles that those people need to be given. So,
Land.
Yep.
And location, you know. Obviously, we can't just say everybody needs to go here. There's not every spot is right for everybody, but like if you're on the coast, if the word has coast at the end of it, you're probably in the wrong spot, you know. And we are on the coast, so like we're eating crow there. So don't, you know, we are victims and we suffer from the same faults that other people suffer from. But that's not to say that they're not amendable, and it's not to say that we don't have enough time to change things. But like dealing with what you have going forward, a lot of this shit is free, you know. Like the knowledge, the skills, a lot of the stuff you can get for absolutely nothing. You can get the manuals, you can get all that shit.
you get a printer and a laptop, you don't have to go to Amazon to buy the PM. You can just go on army.mil.com or .co or whatever it is still this day, and then just type in FM 37-8 or FM 3-21 or whatever it is, and then hit print. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily be doctrine, but that doctrine gives you a basis of understanding
Right.
to kind of lean towards your style.
Civilian groups are gonna have to work differently, but can draw from a lot of that
Yes.
military training.
Exactly. That's going to give you kind of an outline and the gist of it. But going off of per manual and what the TM or the FM says is most likely not going to fit your situation, because you're not going to have the logistics of the people that those FMs or TMs are also written for. So like take the infantry platoon manual or something like that. Well, it's taking into account for logistics, sustainability, IDF, call for fire, 9-line medevac. You ain't got none of that plan. Like, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have to start making that plan. Like, your sniper probably is not going to be that traditional of the eyes and ears of the BC. He's probably going to be that intel or the Overwatch position for your static security. Like, that's probably going to be that guy who's a couple 100 meters off, or maybe a click out from your perimeter, that's giving you eyes and ears of people coming in.
Or
that's probably going to be his job.
Talking to LPOP wise, or maybe the DM status, maybe not a sniper status, but
That's what I'm saying.
But
it's going to be more of a niche.
Your dead spots, where if you have positions set up and you have an area that's like a gray area where like you don't have a lot of coverage, like you're going to stick somebody there that has the capability to, has the glass to be able to see, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So take what you need and take your people when you find them, start situating them what they naturally can do, and then that'll kind of bring us into what mags. And now you got your people, you got your professions, they got their skill set. Now what do we focus on?
Where do we go from here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that's kind of what the next video is going to be on. It's going to be on kind of percentage of focus, like 70% prepping, 30% maybe some tactical stuff, and then 10% of like really intense tactical stuff. But 70% is, again, think about everything you do from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, including what you use to sleep. You need all that stuff. Like, you still need water, you still need plumbing, if you can get plumbing running. Same thing with electricity. You're still going to need hygiene. You're still going to need to brush your teeth, because nobody wants to be beside the guy in the field for 30 days who hasn't brushed his freaking teeth for 30 days.
So not only that, but like, you start looking, man.
But
Come on,
diseases and infections, and if you get an infection here in your tooth and you get an abscess, that can close off your airway or make its way into your brain.
So I can speak to this a little bit when we have the next one, and we'd love to be invited as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll get you guys going, man, and appreciate you guys. Again, like, subscribe, do the comments below. If you like to donate, go ahead and donate a
I
beer.
don't think I have that set up.
Somebody set it up to donate this beer. I know one of you guys are capable of it.
That's what I'm internet.
Make us a pay send go so we can all back that.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Don't get too drunk. Come back at a reasonable hour. Don't show up to PFT on Monday too shit-faced. If you don't really love her, wear protection. That's your weekend brief. Have a good day, guys. Love you. I'm gonna go back off what the fucking first arm said. So.
Yeah. Don't piss up wind.
Don't piss up wind. What does that even mean?